Okay. 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 Let me say hello to everyone. If you can hear me, put a hands up.
Yes, we can hear you. Loud and clear.
Wonderful. Well, I hope everybody has had a good day or is having a good day so far. And we are here this evening to learn about weight loss and all there is to know about it. So I just want to thank you for joining us, and we look forward to an interesting presentation, some fantastic questions, and lots of learning. At this time, I'd like to invite Trisha to do her welcome and prayer.
Hi, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
How are we doing this evening?
Pretty good.
I'm hoping that we're doing well. So as you said this evening, you want to know if everybody is hearing you. I want to see the show of hands of everybody who is excited to be on this seminar tonight. I just want to see a raise a hand and emoji, something, just to let us know that you're extremely excited to be on this seminar tonight. Okay, all right. So my task is to welcome you all. I hope I've been doing it thus far. I just want to say a special welcome to our moderator and a special welcome to our two presenters, and for all the persons that are joining us from here locally and internationally. I just want to wish you all a pleasant evening. I want to hope that the information that you will be getting this evening will be beneficial, and not just beneficial, but I hope that you will implement the information as best as possible to suit you. All right. And not just you, but your friends, your neighbors, and whoever you know that is in need of this presentation. I ask that you share it and ask persons to come on. So guys, I hope that you are blessed. I hope that you are feeling welcome this evening. Now, before we get into our program, you know that we can't start our program without asking the Lord for his guidance and welcome his presence. So let us be reverent for prayer. O most kind and righteous Father, our sovereign God, Lord, as we come before you this evening, we give you thanks. Lord, we give you thanks for a great week. We give you thanks for a great day today that we have been having. And Lord, as we are about to go into this seminar talking about weight loss and all the issues that are surrounding weight loss and the diet that, we should be having just to keep us healthy, I pray that you will speak through the presenters this evening. I ask that you will guide them, you will guard them, you will protect them in the hollow palm of your hands. And I pray that the information that will be coming from them will be coming directly from you. I pray that you will be seen and not them. And Lord, for the persons who are listening on this presentation, everybody that is in the hearing of my voice, I pray that you will be with them. I pray that you will give them a photographic memory. I pray that you will enhance their memory. I pray that you will help them to not just learn, but share and implement. As you know, we have been called to share and to help others to get what they want to get in life and achieve their goals, their health goals, and their health journeys. So, Lord, I ask that you be with each and every one of us. For the persons who are not here as yet, I pray that you will hasten their footsteps. And I pray that tonight will be a blessing to each and every one of us. All these and more we ask through your precious Son's name we pray. In Jesus Christ's name, amen.
Amen.
And I
Thank you,
hand over
Trisha.
back to you, Miss Moderator. You're most
Thank you,
welcome.
dear. Thank you. And we're going to begin with some housekeeping duties right now. I just want to remind everybody that you need to keep your mics muted. Keep your mics muted unless you're speaking, you're asking a question or something. Yes, it can be very distracting, folks. So I'm going to ask you, please, keep your mics muted. And thank you so much. I want to welcome the 23 people, 23, instruments I see online. I'm sure there are many people behind these instruments, plus the others will be coming. Now I want to begin by introducing the first presenter, who is Melissa Halberton. I don't know if you know anything about her, but since some of us don't know much about her, I'm going to read her bio for us. And I think it's very interesting. And I also think that she's well qualified to speak on the topic weight loss. So here goes. So Melissa Halberton is a certified holistic nutritionist and health and wellness coach. She presently works at the Thomas Medical Center and has been a part of the health team for the past 10 years. She's quite passionate about supporting patients about transforming their health challenges to achieve their health goals. And this is partially driven by her own struggles that she has had with autoimmune and hormone imbalance. So, she knows the struggle. So she has contributed successfully in transforming the health of hundreds of patients with her commitment and drive to help them overcome their weight loss, diabetes, renal dysfunction, hypertension, and autoimmune, among other illnesses. She's a mom, and she's also a philanthropist. She's an active member of the Jamaica Red Cross and the Optimist International Caribbean District, where she serves in various leadership positions. And it says that on her days off, you'll find her engaged in charity work in her community. Very good. So today, we are very happy, we're delighted, we're excited to have her speak on the topic, navigating the challenges of weight loss. So at this time, I'm going to turn over to Miss Melissa Halberton.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for the introduction. I am not sure if everyone is seeing and hearing me. Okay, thank you. All right, so good evening again, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Ms. Tricia, for the wonderful prayer and the words that you have spoken prior to us starting. When I was asked to do this presentation, I was a bit apprehensive about doing it because weight loss is one of those topics that is very tricky. And so you have to be careful how you approach weight loss when we're talking about weight loss. So I have chosen the topic, navigating the challenges, because I think that when we think about weight loss is a challenge. It's not just a Jamaica thing. It's not just a personal thing. It's an international, it's a global thing. Weight loss is what we'd call a pandemic because obesity is one of those diseases that is a challenge, and it has been for years. And so in talking about weight loss and addressing the issue, we have to look on it on a global scale. How is it affecting the world? And over the years, we have seen where there have been hundreds of diets that have been on the scene. And with these diets and these emergencies of technology and the technological era, the challenges come about. And so tonight, I am happy and I'm elated to talk about the challenges that we are faced with. So losing weight can be one of the most challenging tasks for anyone, as there are many misconceptions about weight loss. We live in a society where the media plays an important role, and I call this a psychological warfare because it is somebody's phone is mic is open. Please mute your mic. Thank you. I call this a psychological warfare because it is what persons who are faced with the challenge of losing weight, they tend to be faced with a lot of challenges like depression and other issues. So when we look on the TV or we look on the internet, we will see persons like celebrities who will come on and show their success stories. They'll be showing
Latoya,
their
please make your
success.
mic.
Thank
Okay.
you. They'll be showing their success stories. And so we get caught up in all of this. And because of that, we tend to go on these diets. And then we, they will help us to lose the weight at first. But in the long run, after we resume our usual lifestyle, the weight creeps back on. And then we...
Yeah, so
I was muted just now.
Amore Dennis, thank you.
Hold on, moderator, the host.
Okay, sorry about that. So once we go back to eating our usual meals or we resume our normal lifestyle, the weight starts creeping back on, and that becomes a challenge for us. And so what do we do in this instance? So the weight doesn't necessarily creep on because weight loss is not the problem. It's managing our lifelong commitment. So weight loss is not a quick fix. It is managing the strategies that we employ after we have started these diets. How do we keep them off? Remember, if you're putting a strategy in place to lose your weight, it has to be something that is a lifelong commitment. So weight loss is not a quick fix. And there are some reasons why we gain weight. It can be the lifestyles that we live. So can be medical condition. It can be as a result of poor nutrition. So when we look on some of the lifestyle factors, chronic dieting. So there are certain choices that we make that affects our weight in the long term. And when we talk about chronic dieting, while dieting can be good and can have short-term results, research has shown that it can be associated with long-term weight gain. This is known as weight cycling and is related to adverse physical and mental outcomes. Now, when we talk about chronic dieting, before we move to the lack of sleep. So, for example, a person who might see the keto diet and they say, okay, I'm going to try the ketogenic diet, and they do it for 6 months, they lose weight. And then after 2 months of, coming off that diet, they tend to put on back the weight. Then they might say, okay, I'm going to try the Atkins diet or the HCG diet or some other form of dieting. Over time, the body stops losing the weight. And so you tend to put the weight back on, or even more. So that's an example of chronic dieting. So persons tend to go on numerous diets, trying to find a ground where they can lose the weight. So over time, they tend to regain all of that weight and in turn put on some more or even more than what they would have lost. So lack of sleep is also one of the issues. Rest play a key role in weight loss. And over the years, if you study, or even if you take up anything, go on the internet and type in sleep and weight loss, you'll see many articles popping up and telling you how important it is for us to rest. And one such article that is in the National Library of Medicine, published, entitled Sleep and Metabolic Syndrome. Short sleep duration and poor sleep quality have adverse effects on metabolism and hormone processes. And this goes to show that there's a correlation between your sleep and you having a healthy body. Now, persons who tend to lack in sleep, when you wake up in the morning, you tend to be weak or you're feeling tired. And so we tend to want to eat more, especially carbs. So the foods that we choose are high-calorie foods to give us energy. So there are other studies, which also suggest that poor sleep qualities may lead to these metabolic disorder and weight gain and increased obesity, over a period of time, and also other chronic diseases you can get from lack of sleep. So depression is one of them, insomnia, those are other conditions. You can develop stress disorders from lack of sleep. Diabetes, it affects your sugar level, it affects your high blood pressure level. So sleep is not only important for weight loss, but it is also important for our bodies to replenish and revive, to help us to help us along the way in terms of our journey to good health. Another important aspect of weight loss and lifestyle is exercise. So a lot of persons tend to think that exercise is one of the most important aspect of weight loss, but based on my knowledge, it goes hand in hand with nutrition. So like nutrition, without one, you can't survive. So with the good nutrition and exercise, they go hand in hand, and at least 3 times per day, 3 times per week, sorry, it is encouraged that you exercise. That will help to keep the weight down. It will help you to get rid of certain diseases, certain lifestyle diseases, that is. It will help with the fight against diabetes, high blood pressure again. So exercise is important. That's another aspect. So we want you to incorporate exercise in whatever you're doing. Nutrition, I feel, is one of the most important aspects of weight loss. It is like the cornerstone of good health. While we have those fad diets that promise to melt away fat fast, and we have seen from time and time where this, has led to different deficiencies, various types of deficiencies. Having a balanced meal and being consistent with your food choices will help you not only keep the weight off, but it will assist in the fight against chronic diseases. So we get up this morning and we say, okay, we're gonna have breakfast. The choice is not processed. We encourage you to eat whole foods. If you eat eggs, that is okay. You can have an omelet with your hot beverage of choice, which is, not Milo or coffee. We prefer you have something on the more natural side. So nutrition plays an important way, and having a balanced meal as it relates to weight loss. So you're not gonna have just carbs in your plate and you leave off the protein. Having protein, your carbs, your fat, your vegetables, that is a balanced meal that will help you with weight loss. And there are certain carbs that we ask that you remove from your diet when you are dealing with weight loss. So like the rice, the flour, breads. Traditional nutrition will tell you that you can have a slice of toast bread. Now, grains like flour, gluten, those are killers, especially if you have a medical issue as it relates to, and you want to lose weight. So we tend to remove and we drop your calories when we're talking nutrition and weight loss. So we want you to have a balanced meal, but we want you to have healthy carbs, healthy fats. We want you to have good protein, good quality, high quality protein. And when we talk about good quality protein, we have vegans here who they don't eat chicken, they don't eat fish, but we have peas and beans. So we encourage you to incorporate all of those in your diet. Now we go on to the medical conditions, that is those aspects of the weight loss that affects weight loss. And one such medical condition is hypothyroidism. Now, this happens when the thyroid gland, it produces 2 key hormones. And when the thyroid gland doesn't produce these hormones and they're on the screen, then we have problems with your metabolism, and that leads to weight gain. So sometimes you will see persons coming into the office and they're concerned, they don't know why they're just rapidly gaining weight. And when you send them to do these tests, they find out that they have hypothyroidism. You don't mix it up with hyperthyroidism. No, that is a different one. So hypothyroidism is when you your body is not producing enough of the two key hormones to help you to lose the weight. So you tend to gain weight. And Dr. Thomas can shed some more light on these things because he's the expert in that area. Now, we have another condition called PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome. And a lot of women in Jamaica suffer from this condition. And I know as a child growing up, a lot of guys used to tease some of the girls who have facial hair, and we didn't understand what this condition was. And so we used to laugh. And as I got older and I started to study, I found out that this condition is a condition that causes you to gain weight, and it is so difficult to lose weight. So this condition, it may appear to be simple, but it is actually quite complex. And the most important thing to know about PCOS is that it is a hormonal imbalance. And this causes a wide range of issues, including, irregular period, hair growth on the body parts, like your face. And so you'll see women with hair in their chest and on their face. This can be a cause of that. The PCOS can be a cause of that. A lot of persons have severe acne, and even some women become infertile and they gain weight. So PCOS, and it is not as easy to manage as it appears. So it's not just, taking them off certain foods. As it says, it's a hormonal imbalance. So it's an entire change. It's an entire change as it relates to diet and lifestyle, exercise, and it can be, as I say, it's a bit challenging to manage, and it can cause other forms it can cause other conditions like depression. So some persons who have these conditions, they become depressed because a lot of persons tend to body shame them, because you have persons who might be growing up, they might be slim, and as they get a little older, they tend to put on weight. And when we Jamaicans see a person who might be slim last year and this year they put on weight, my God, how you're big so. And it is not okay. And it is very dear to me talking about PCOS and weight gain, because it is dear to me because I too suffer from that condition. And so persons might see me and say the same thing, how you big so, how you fat so, and you do nutrition, and it's not because of what you eat, but sometimes your body is not behaving as it should. So eating and exercising can help with PCOS. Next slide, please. It can help with PCOS and management of PCOS, but does it really get rid of the problem? Researchers are still trying to find out the exact cause or causes of PCOS, but its connection to weight gain, seems to be associated with insulin resistance. And what this means is that your body cell does not respond effectively to insulin. And as you know, insulin, if you might not know, insulin is a hormone that helps to keep your blood sugar stable. And so many doctors, like the gynecologist, they would treat you with giving you pills like diabetic pills or other pills to control your insulin level to help with weight loss. But sometimes it does not work. And so this is where nutrition, along with the medications that they prescribe, will come into play. Depression, and I put depression after, because as I mentioned, some of these conditions and depression is associated with them. So depression can lead to weight gain. First, so if you are an emotional eater, so if you binge eat and you use food to cope with your feelings, of emptiness and sadness, you might have a hard time, mustering up the courage or the energy to do anything. And so it makes it harder for you to go exercise and even sometimes to make healthy choices. And so that is what packs on the weight. So if you're suffering from a medical condition, or you just rapidly gain weight and you're confused, you're not sure what is happening, you might go in a state of depression. And some persons tend to develop eating disorders as a result of depression. So Cushing disease is or syndrome and stress is also another medical condition. And Cushing disease is this occur when the body produces too much cortisol. And now cortisol is what we call the stress hormone. And this hormone, but it has other functions. So it helps to regulate the way your body metabolizes food. Hence, when your body produces too much, it can interfere with your metabolism and cause weight gain. So just like stress, your body produces cortisol. And so when the body produces too much cortisol, you tend to gain a lot of weight because it messes with your metabolism. And so again, persons develop other conditions as a result of this syndrome, as a result of them having stuck on the weight. So one such condition is, you know, bulimia. Some persons, they tend to end up with mental disorder, a mental disorder like bulimia or anorexia. So when you look in the mirror, you're not pleased with yourself. Some persons, after they eat, they tend to bring up by the food. And so they push their finger down their throat to bring up, or they force themselves to vomit. And so there you have issues, other issues developing, that mental disorder, as I said, from weight issues. So how do we fix these issues? One such way is being disciplined. And being disciplined is one of the hardest challenges. With the technological era that we are in, you know, everybody giving different advice about fat loss, and we see different diets, different meals, and, you know, with the fact that meals are prepped for us now, and we don't have to go in the kitchen and we don't have to prepare, we tend to get sidetracked and we want to try a faster approach. So we tend to buy quick meals, and that is not always the right way. So having a disciplined mindset will help you to get to the finish line. Being patient also. Being patient is also another way we can fix these issues. There is a well-known proverb that patience is a virtue. And what this means is that it's the ability for one to wait without being frustrated or giving up. And this is a useful tool to have, you know, when you are approaching weight loss. You did not gain your weight in 1 or 2 days. And so for some persons, you know, it took years and months. And so it takes time. And when I sat and I was writing this presentation, the story of the tortoise and the hare came to me. And the tortoise, you know, I'm very slow, and he took his time. But the hare, you know, I'm a boss and I'm a brag, and he's running up and down. I said, oh, I can finish because I'm faster than you. But the tortoise said, you know what? I'm going to take my time and I'm going to do this. I'm going to move slowly. And when the tortoise saw the finish line, the hare was sleeping. He was there relaxing because he thought that, listen, there is no way possible that this slow coach can beat me. But he ended up crossing the finish line. The slow coach won. So sometimes we need to take a seat and take an introspective look. We don't need to expect change to come overnight. Don't watch what other persons in the media or in the gym. You know, when you go to the gym, you see some men, them lifting some weights and them dropping the big weights, and them have this flat tummy. And these ladies now, and again, with the technological era that we are in, women are making their bodies so them belly flat like Willie Penny, and, you know, the shape up and everything. And so when we go in the gym and we see these things, we tend to get sidetracked again. But be patient. Do not expect change overnight. And don't watch anybody. Take, you know, it in strides. Take it in stages, one day at a time. And find something that you enjoy. You know, there is no correct way to exercise. Aerobics is good, but if you can't do the jumping up and down and the bicycle and all of that, and the running on the treadmill or the running, take your time. Walk. Take it in steps. You learn to creep before you walk. You learn to make little sounds before you can talk. So we're taking it in steps. So exercise coupled with a healthy diet is a more effective way to lose weight than just depending on, calorie restriction. So sometimes we might go and we count our calories. That is good. Don't get me wrong. It is good to count your calories because you need to read the labels and you need to know whatever you're eating is good. But sometimes when we go into like the supermarket and we buy a drink, for example, it says 10 calories, but we ignore the section that says added sugar. So what we need to do is not to just depend on the calorie, but we need to look on the bigger picture. What is it that I'm consuming? So a healthy diet is more important than just looking on just the calorie part. So what we need to do is to take a look, eat what we can make, prepare our foods. Prepare your own food and try to not to buy prepackaged stuff. Exercise is not only useful for weight management, but again, it can prevent or even reverse the effects of certain disease. And I briefly mentioned diabetes, hypertension, even heart disease. So exercise is key. And coupled with a healthy diet, you win. Exercise lowers your blood pressure again, your cholesterol, and it might prevent a heart attack. Take weight loss and take it as a lifestyle change. Maintaining a fitness journey is always a way to think, to go. Think of it as a process, and as I said, not a one-time thing. So again, don't look for a quick fix. Take it as a lifestyle. This is what you'll be doing for the rest of your life. And by making healthier choices now, in the future, you can sit back and say to yourself, this is the result. So if you look on some persons, I think there was a program on TV a couple years ago called The Biggest Loser. And now you have contestants with 700 pounds, 400 pounds, 350 pounds, and they go on. And in 8 to 10 weeks, they lose 120 pounds or 100 pounds. But after a year, and when they revisit, I think they disbanded that program. And after a year, they regain. Why? Because of the choices. They did not see it as a lifestyle. They saw it as a quick fix. And so after getting the quick fix, they went back to the same way, eating the same things, rice and the flour, the bread, all of that. And so they regained the weight and even more. Drinking your water. So water is important. And when I was going to the gym, my trainer used to say to me, listen, drink water, drink water, drink water. If you don't drink water, you cannot lose weight. So drinking water can help burn calories. Water is 0 calories and it reduces hunger cravings. Replacing your sugary drinks with water can also help to lower your caloric and sugar intake. But drinking water alone is not enough for major weight loss. So again, with your balanced meal and your exercise and drinking your water and replacing the water with your fizzy drinks and your sugary drinks, it will help you to keep the weight off. So make water a part of your lifestyle. I know persons will come to me when they come and they say, oh, I don't like water. Can I drink coconut water instead? While coconut water is healthy and it is good, I find that persons who I put on certain weight loss programs, it is not beneficial to them. And remember also, weight loss is not, everybody is not one bill fits all. So everybody's body is different. So let me add that. Everybody's body is different. And so your friend might lose 20 pounds and you might just lose 5 on your weight loss journey. Again, don't get sidetracked. Everybody is different. Some persons lose weight a little faster than some. You might Might be reach a plateau. You might just lose 10 pounds and reach a plateau. Let's revisit what you're eating and the exercises that you're doing also. Some persons lift weights and lose weight and they lose weight. Some persons, they lift weight and they gain muscle. And so it looks as if they're not losing anything. So it is also important, again, to remain disciplined and consistent. So water will also help you along the journey. So there are some tips, again, that we want you to follow. Monitor your current pattern. Ensure that you watch what you eat, your sleep pattern, your exercise routine, and how you manage your stress and your water intake. This will help you to determine what works and what doesn't work. So you're not gonna just watch what you're eating for a week or 2 weeks, but again, monitor what you're eating consistently. So if it is that you have to keep a food journal, you keep a food journal. So, and that is useful because you will see what it is that you're eating, what you have had the day before. Did you put on weight after eating all of these things? If it is that you're diabetic, a food journal will also help you along the way, because it will also, when you do your readings, you can compare what you would have eaten and how it has affected your sugar reading. So weight loss, just like any other condition, you need to monitor what you're eating. Understand why you're doing this. What is the motivation behind you starting the journey? Is it illness? Is it just for a better life, for optimal health? Because we do want to get to optimal health. And us getting to optimal health means that we're gonna have to be dedicated and we have to have a goal. So set your goal and understand why you're doing this. Eat what is in season. Now, buying foods that are in season will not only help you to save money, but it will also help to motivate you in making better choices. So persons who tend to go and buy fancy stuff, spend money, they always tend to end up in problems. So in season now, we have Ota-Iti apples. Make use of your Ota-Iti apples instead of going to buy Mott's apple juice, which is not really good, and other stuff that are on the shelf. You can make your own juice, sugar-free. And that is a healthier choice, and that will help you with your weight loss journey as well. You eat your vegetables that are in season. They are cheaper, and again, they will help you to stick to the journey that you're on. It will help you with your lifestyle choices, because you're not going to bust your budget to buy stuff that you cannot afford, and then in the long run, you'll have your relapse. So you want to stick to the evil that you know. Buy your cucumber, buy your pak chow, buy your callaloo, buy your lettuce. You know, eat those things that are in season, that are readily available, and try to eat organic. Always applaud yourself for the progress, no matter how small. If it's even 1 pound you lose per week, it is 1 pound that you did not gain. It is 1 pound less than what you had the week before. So always compliment yourself. Talk to yourself in the mirror, look in the mirror and say, girl, you're doing well, or sir, or mom, or whomever, because we're using different identities now. So I don't want to offend anybody if anybody's on the chat here. So applaud yourself. Drink water again, get enough sunlight. Sunlight is important. Fresh air is important. So getting enough rest and managing your stress levels. Always eat a balanced meal and exercise. And nutrition, again, is important. So if you look on the little thing on the display, this is just an example of what a plate can look like. Your protein, the chicken breast will have its own fat, and your carbs and your vegetables. So some persons will kick it up a notch, and they will put for added fat, they'll put like lettuce, and they do a salad with their nuts and stuff. So that is it. But there are some choices, there are some weight loss options that, you know, we have at Thomas Medical Center. One of which we do help patients with is the HCG program. And this, while, you know, some persons consider it to be a quick fix, it has its benefits. And I'm going to tell you some of the benefits. So going on the HCG program, one of the better benefits is that it helps to kickstart your journey. And I know persons might be saying, what is HCG? No, HCG is a dietary program. It is an injection-based dietary program, and it, you know, it's coupled with a nutrition program. It comes with a dietary program that restricts what you eat. And so this helps you to start your journey by showing you how to reduce your caloric intake, by showing you how to make these choices. We also help you with meal ideas, how you can use the ingredients that you have available to make healthy meals. And I find that persons, after going on this program, they tend to want to continue, because once you start this program and you start eating a certain way, after 6 weeks on the program, I can guarantee you, up to a year after, you're still eating the same way because you are mindful of what you're eating. So I find that this program is very, very useful in kickstarting your health journey. You know, there's also the other route of just doing a normal diet, changing up what you're eating, drinking your water, and again, exercising. That is also an option. So you have many other options out there, but these are the two options I recommend. Kickstart a journey with the HCG program, or you can do a regular weight loss program. And with this program, persons, you can lose in 10 weeks, 10 to 12 weeks, persons can lose up to 40 pounds. And after losing that 40 pounds, we encourage you and we show you how to keep it off. So this is not just another fad diet. So this is my recommendation for anybody who is extremely overweight and would want to lose weight. Now, this brings me to the end of my presentation on weight loss. You know, persons might have questions that they want to ask me about weight loss, but I hope that at the end of this presentation, you would have gained some knowledge of how it is that you can approach weight loss and how you can basically make different changes, better choices as it relates to. And if you're having challenges as it relates to weight loss, then my presentation would have at least shed some light on how you can address some of the issues that you are faced with. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Melissa. That was a mouthful, more than a mouthful, lots of information shared. And at this time, I'd like to ask if you have questions, could you type them in the chat, or better yet, just put your hands up and Melissa will answer some of your questions. But one of the things I learned most is that it says you should run your own race. Don't watch people, because everybody's weight loss journey is different. So run your own race, be patient with yourself, drink plenty of water, get enough sunlight, get some rest, manage your stress levels, eat a balanced diet, and exercise. Now, are there any questions? If you have a question, could you please just raise your hand? What is the cost to go on that weight loss program?
I will put my number in the chat, and you can reach out to me, and we can discuss.
Okay. Thank you. Any other question? Let me ask a question, Melissa. Why is it that depression can cause you to gain weight?
Okay, as I said earlier, persons who are depressed, they tend to binge eat. So we pick and we binge eat, and then, you know, as I said, stress eaters. So persons who are depressed tend to binge eat. So they tend to make unhealthy choices. Sweets, we tend to eat sweets a lot when we are depressed, or a lot of carbs. And so we gain weight from those foods, the unhealthy foods that we choose.
Okay, thank you. Is there any other question? I'm checking the chat. There's none there. Raise your hand if you have a question, please. I'm checking. I don't see any questions. I think you must have been very clear, Michelle. Melissa, rather, because I don't see any questions.
I
neither
guess
do
I
I see-
was. I guess I was.
Yeah, you were very clear. Wonderful. Wonderful. Okay, so there's a question. Nats has a question. Nats, go ahead.
Hi, good night. I was just the person asked a while ago, why do you gain weight when you're depressed? But I was also wondering, persons may say that you eat well, but if your mind is not well, you will also gain weight or not lose the weight. So you eat well, you exercise, but then you have some things going on in your life emotionally and all of that, and that will also prevent you from losing the weight. So why does that happen?
Okay, thanks for that question. All right, so cortisol, so stress. Remember I mentioned that the body produces too much cortisol when you're stressed. And so that affects your metabolism. And so that affects your weight loss progress. So you might be eating and exercising, but yeah, your mind is not well, you're stressed and your cortisol level is up. And one way of checking if your cortisol level is up, you can check doc. Doc will send you to do the test and you can find out if it is that your cortisol level is too high or if there's another issue that is affecting. Again, you can also have a medical condition. So it's not just the cortisol. So you can have a medical condition. So you can be eating and exercising, but you have a medical condition that is affecting your metabolism.
Okay, thank you.
Melissa, I see a question here about what is contained in the injection. I don't know if you want to answer this on this forum or they need to see you to get that response.
Yeah, they can text me and I will answer all the questions about the HCG.
Okay. And this is a question. What guarantees there that all persons on the weight loss program will lose weight?
All right. So what the program does, again, is that it's a nutrition aspect of it that helps. The program itself drops the calories. So the food that you're eating, the calorie count is very low. Just let me add that. And so that helps along with the injection. The injection itself targets the fat. So over the years, we have been doing it in Whole Harbor since what, 2015, Doc, I think. And there is not, I have never seen a person who has been on the program who has not lost weight. Persons who have medical conditions have been on it, like the PCOS, and they have lost weight. I find that when persons don't lose weight on the program, they tend to cheat because it's not, you're right, they tend to cheat and they tell you that they don't cheat, but that is the guaranteed. I know that it works and I personally have been on the program, so I can tell you, and it has worked.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to ask Trisha. Trisha, your turn, and then Carla.
Not a question, but I just want to say to Melissa that her presentation is really concise and spot on. I really enjoy the presentation and I hope that, everybody will, do as she says and get in touch with her, but I really love it. Thanks. I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you. Before I go to Carla, Melissa, there's a question about somebody being overseas. How can they get in touch with anybody who can give them to get into the HCG program?
All right, so they can reach out to me. The numbers are there. We can discuss it. Doc and I will make arrangements. So you can reach out. There are two numbers, the one number for the office, and there is my personal number. So you reach out to me via WhatsApp. And we can discuss how you can get the program while you're overseas.
Okay, thank you. Carla? Carla McGarvey-Blair?
Trying to unmute. Okay, good night, good evening. Thanks so much for taking the call. My query is, in terms of persons losing weight, a lot of time persons lose also the elasticity in their body. What is it that we can do to really keep it, gain it, add it, or ensure that that is not lost in the process?
All right, thanks for that question, Carla. So when we exercise, or when we're dieting rather, we tend to lose muscle mass and we you know, the elasticity out of your skin. But there are certain exercises that you can do to tighten. Now, a person losing 300 pounds, if you're 700 pounds and you lose 300 pounds, then it will take a while for your body to come back to. And in some cases, they have to do surgery. But I believe that God made us wonderful, and that can happen when you do exercise. So exercise is what we use to tighten the body. And there are certain exercises that you do when you lose weight. So for the arms, you have special arm exercises. For the abdomen, you know, we use special exercises to tighten them. And so that is why it is important also, if it is that you have a trainer, you ask specific questions. You ask specific questions when you are at the gym, and they are the experts in that field to show you the different types of exercises. Also, you can use your Google, go online. There are exercises that are online. There are lots of programs that shows you how to get your skin tighten, to tighten your skin. So weight loss and exercise, again, go hand in hand.
Okay, thank you so much.
Tricia, do you have another question, Tricia? Okay. Well, Mel, there are lots of thank you in the chat, thanking you for this wonderful presentation. Thank you so much. It was very concise, as most people have commented, and it was well researched, and we appreciate your presentation, and we plan to follow the rules that you told us about just now. At this time, we're going to move on to our second presenter, and our second presenter is none other than our own Dr. Orlando Thomas. And for those of you who don't know anything about him, I am delighted to share with you. Now, he's going to be talking about what to eat and when to eat it, and I'm very interested in this part. So Dr. Orlando Thomas is a highly accomplished physician and surgeon as well. He's a certified functional medicine practitioner who practices interactive medicine. He is the founder and current director of the Thomas Medical Center. He has appeared on various TV and radio programs and has written and contributed to over 100 written and magazine articles on health. And in his over 20 years of clinical practice, he has conducted over 100 free health clinics. And I say thank you and congratulations on doing that. Dr. Thomas is also a motivational speaker and a mentor, and he has inspired thousands of people around the world. His passion is to transform lives for the better, and that is why this program is his brainchild. He not only dreams of ideas of how to make his patients' life better, but he finds ways also to help their dreams become a reality. One of those dreams led him to the creation of the Be Healthy Family Group, of which some of you are members, which was created by him to help his patients develop healthy habits through community connection. So today, the Be Healthy Family consists of members from 23 countries across the world. Isn't that wonderful? His aim is to give his patients knowledge to empower them to take control of their own health. And for this physician, it's not enough to treat symptoms that sometimes spiral into enslavement to pharmaceutical companies. He's all about finding and fixing the root cause of our illnesses and illness prevention. So at this time, it is my pleasure to present Dr. Orlando Thomas.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thank you, Chloe, for that beautifully done introduction. I want to say welcome to all of the persons joining us. Chloe, you'll be happy to hear we have 84 persons now on Zoom. We have over 70 on YouTube, and my TikTok is counting up to over 100 and 200. So we have numerous persons on various platforms that are watching this live right now. So let me get right into it. I'm going to talk about weight loss, and specifically what to eat and when to eat it. So this promises to be pretty simple, but very profound. If you pay attention this evening, you will get two very important bits of information that I believe can change your life if you're trying to lose weight. So within the entire bit of information I'll share are going to be two key things. And when I get to them, I'll stop and pause and emphasize and go over them, because I want you to understand two key bits of information this evening that I think is really lost in the argument on weight loss. Now, as Melissa mentioned, there are many diets that people would attempt or complete in their quest to lose weight. Some persons might go low calorie, so you might just reduce the amount of food or the amount of, energy in the food that you consume on a 24-hour basis. Some person might choose to go low carbs, meaning you're cutting out the sugars and the breads and the rice and so on. Some persons may go low fat. Some persons may do a Mediterranean diet. Some persons may do a paleo diet. And as Melissa mentioned, an HH diet. So the amount of diets available to you are endless, and people have, in fact, lost weight on every single diet. That is the truth. All of these diets do work. Which one is right? None of them is perfect for everybody, but what I'm going to do this evening is to show you that the perfect way to lose weight is not to pick a particular diet, but to pick out elements of all these diets that are common to all of them and that will lead to healthy and sustainable weight loss. So none of these diets on their own are perfect. They will all lead to weight loss, but there is something important that I want to point out that's common to all of them. And the key is insulin. Now, obesity is a disorder of, it's a hormonal disorder primarily of fat and glucose metabolism. So persons are obese primarily because their bodies have difficulty with maintaining the right metabolic processes as it refers to fat and glucose. Now, let me simplify this diagram for you. So you can, this is where I want to spend a few minutes so you understand this clearly. Now, whenever you eat, a lot of the food you consume will be broken down into sugar or eventually converted to sugar. So when you break down carbohydrates, they are converted to sugar or glucose. When you eat fats or protein, some of those nutrients are converted to glucose. So almost every food you consume will in some part end up as glucose, raise your blood sugar, and try to get into your cells as sugar. Now, sugar can't just walk into your cells. It has to go through a channel. And this channel is opened by a special molecule called insulin. Insulin acts like a key to allow your cells to accept glucose. And so in a normally functioning person, insulin will open the channels on your muscle cell, your heart cell, your liver cell, your kidney cell, and allow the nutrients that you consume to enter the cell. Now, what we've found is that there is an epidemic of insulin dysfunction in our population worldwide. And this, we think, is underlying the obesity epidemic that Melissa referred to. We know right now in America, maybe 60% or more persons are overweight or obese. And if you look around in Jamaica, the trend is very similar. In Canada, it's not very different. In Mexico, the fat capital of the world, it's a huge problem. So every corner of the world you look, this is a problem. Why is this a big problem in the last, say, 30, 40, 50 years? The reason is we have an epidemic of what we call insulin resistance. It means that when we analyze the physiology of most persons, we realize that their bodies aren't responding to insulin. For some reason, the insulin that is supposed to open those channels on the cells doesn't work, and the glucose remain in the blood and doesn't enter the cells. But something more important happens. The body recognizes that insulin is not being produced or is not being accepted. The body produces more insulin, so the insulin level goes up. As the insulin level rises, your body becomes more and more resistant to it, and this leads to you putting on fat rather than using up your glucose for energy. So it becomes stored. Insulin is a fat storage hormone. So because of the rise in insulin resistance, we have a rise in obesity and concomitantly other diseases such as PCOS, of course, diabetes, dementia, cancers. The list of diseases linked to insulin resistant is very long, and they're all chronic and difficult to treat diseases. Now you might ask, so why all of a sudden are we having so much insulin resistance? Well, every food you eat stimulates insulin, but there are some foods that stimulate insulin more than others, and those foods are carbohydrate, refined carbohydrate, glucose, fructose, which is in lots of fruit juices, and high fructose corn syrup, which is a preferred sweetener for many brands that produce food. There is a lot of evidence suggesting that the high consumption of fructose, high fructose corn syrup, and sugar in refined forms is behind the insulin epidemic that we have and behind the obesity epidemic that we have. And so if you understand this, and the science is very, very convincing, you would then say, to address the obesity epidemic and to address the epidemic of chronic diseases such as diabetes, hypertension, cancers, we must find a way to address these high insulin levels and this insulin resistance. And so this evening's presentation about what to eat and when to eat it is designed to show you how we have worked out how to lower your insulin levels and lower them permanently, and thus we're able to lower your body weight and lower it permanently, reverse diabetes, lower risk of cancer and dementia, and so many other things. So this presentation, while we're talking about weight loss, the health ramifications are many and huge. So pay attention, guys. So if you're even like me or Chloe, not having an obesity problem, you still need to pay attention, because there are other issues that you might be affected by now or in the future, and you'd want to prevent. So insulin, remember guys, is the key, and insulin resistance is the underlying cause of many of the diseases, especially obesity, that we face. Now, as Melissa mentioned, there are other reasons, such as the PCOS, well, not PCOS, such as the hypothyroidism and the excess consumption of calories and depression and so on. But these form a small percentage of the number of persons who are obese. The majority of persons, dare I say over 85%, are gonna be persons who are obese or overweight because they have developed insulin resistance. And if you approach insulin resistance in a haphazard, ad hoc way, what you end up with is this cycle of losing weight, gaining back more, losing weight, gaining back more, because we know that insulin, in addition to regulating fat on your body, also influences your hypothalamus. That's an important part in your brain that we consider to be the thermostat of your body. It regulates various aspects of your physiology. So the hypothalamus regulates your body temperature, for example. And so when your hypothalamus is malfunctioning or is affected by some pyrogen from a virus, you may have a fever. The idea I'm bringing here is that your hypothalamus also regulates another important metric, which is your fat set point. You may never have heard of this. So the amount of fat on your body is determined by an organ in your brain. Insulin raises your fat set point. And so if you force weight down without addressing insulin, your fat set point is up here, force the weight down to here. When you take the diet out of the way, your body naturally goes back up to where your hypothalamus has set your weight to be. So there's a number written in your brain as to what your weight should be. And that number, you can't change it unless you change what wrote that number, and that's your insulin levels. So no matter how much you want to diet, okay, unless you address insulin resistance, your weight will just go back to where it was You can get it down 10 times, it will rise back to it. Hence, you will now understand why it's so difficult to keep weight off, because we are generally using short-term measures that do not address insulin resistance. It's very important, guys. So I'm going to go through with you now. What is it that we need to do to address insulin resistance? The first part of the presentation is about diet. There are things we can do diet-wise to address insulin resistance. And then there's going to be another set of things we can do, which is a little bit outside of diet, which are going to be key for long term. But let's spend the next few minutes looking at what are the dietary choices we need to be making to lower insulin. Now, as I said before, every food you eat, including vegetables, will stimulate insulin and can cause some amount of response in your body. But there is a category of food or a couple categories that raise insulin even more. And the way we measure them is by measuring what we call the glycemic index. This is how much these foods will raise your blood sugar by. Stay with me now. Among these foods, the number one are going to be sugars, added sugars to food. So we're talking about, as I said, glucose, sucrose, high fructose corn syrup, which comes in the form of juices that you consume, pastries, snacks, may come in the form of various desserts. These foods with added sugar, your soy milk and your condensed milk, your pastry, buns, bullas, cake, croissants, bagels, these foods are the biggest stimulants for insulin. So they will raise your insulin, raise your fat set point in your brain, and make you put on fat and put on some more. To lose weight long term, you must take these foods out of your diet long term. Now, being humans and living in a real world, occasionally we'll have a birthday, we'll have, a celebration, we'll have an anniversary, and you'd want to maybe treat yourself to an ice cream, to, something that you would have enjoyed previously. So, in being realistic, the approach we have found to work is that, yes, you remove these things out of your diet permanently, but on the occasion, you can have a treat. You don't have to be a monk to punish yourself mentally, which for some people it is. Others, like some of us, it isn't. We have, been able to avoid these things without feeling like we are, missing out. But for many of you, you should relegate added sugars to the occasion or the occasional special event. And the 90% of your diet should be devoid of simple sugars. So fruit juices, for example, should be out of your diet. The next category of food, which is no longer controversial, if you are feared and just to the science, is grains. And by grains, I mean refined grains and to a lesser extent, whole grains. So we're talking about wheat, which comes in the form of flour, whole wheat flour and white flour, which comes as biscuits and breads and buns and bullas and cakes and all these things. Talking about rice, and especially white rice. We're talking about barley, which is not so popular as something we consume, but we're talking about oats, especially refined oats. Oats is a huge, and some people don't really realize this, is a huge stimulant for insulin, a huge cause of blood sugar spikes, and a huge reason to have insulin resistance. So refined oats, if you're gonna have oats, you're gonna need to go for the whole stone grind oats, old-fashioned oats. Refined oats is just as bad as flour, which is just as bad as sugar. And oats and the flour, as with the other grains, have different types of gluten. So what they do is cause a dual action. One, when broken down, the starch in these foods will release sugar into your system. But they also contain gluten, which opens the pores in your intestine, causing leaky gut. So the sugar that they contain that is digested and released in your intestine is rapidly absorbed because of the effect of the gluten. So the effect of oatmeal breakfast or corn, which is another grain, right? Or white rice or wheat in any form, or barley or rye, is to give you lots of sugar and produce a mechanism for the rapid absorption of this sugar. And so that's why many people are diabetic, have belly fat, have cancer. This simple reason. There are a number of books, guys, written. Maybe you've seen a book called Wheat Belly. You know, there are so many books, Obesity Code. There are books I've written that detail the research that highlights how damaging the advice that we should consume whole grains has been for the population. Now, whole grains was always a part of the human diet. You know, from ancient times, the last 4,000, 6,000 years, we've been planting and growing grains and we've been consuming them. But in the past, they weren't refined. And secondly, the ones that we have now, the varieties we have been hybridized, genetically modified to increase the starch content, the gluten content, you know, so they are more stretchy and make better breads. And this has made what God made into an artificial, harmful set of foods. So there is a big trend now called a no-grain diet. And at present, I have a 14-day flat belly challenge going on. Some of you who are on this set of meetings might see to have a challenge going on, 2-week challenge on WhatsApp. There are 800 people from 20 odd countries in that challenge right now, and they're all on a no-grain diet. And can I tell you, we're 4 days in, and some people are even reporting 10 pounds weight loss already in the 4 days. People have lost 2 inches of their waist in just 4 days. Of course, there are other things that we're doing, and this is a pilot. So in another week and a half or so, I'll be rolling out version 2. So make sure that if you are needing to lose weight and belly fat fast, you're going to be logging into and joining part 2 and part 3 and part 4, because so far, guys, it's been so successful. I can't see how I can't repeat this to 10 and 11 and 12 times. So look out for that on my TikTok page, advertise, and you'll be able to join that next challenge coming up for a very small fee, of course. It takes time to put these things together, but the grains have been a problem for human beings, and it continues to be a problem, and we are consuming more and more. And so understanding that there are better options and moving to those better options may be the long-term solution to your weight problem. All right, so moderate protein consumption is going to be recommended as a strategy. Proteins do stimulate insulin too, but not as much as carbohydrates. There are diets like the Atkins diet, which promote a high protein consumption. I do not advocate for that. I'm not a big meat eater, but we know high protein consumption, which Dr. Atkins maybe have died from. So the inventor of that diet died prematurely from heart disease. And we know that high proteins can increase the risk of kidney problems, and you know, meat consumption, meats that we have available nowadays anyway are going to be high in lots of saturated fats. They are fed lots of GMO foods. They are given vaccines and antibiotics. So meats generally available aren't very healthy anyway. So you're going to be way behind in your health journey if you are consuming lots of protein. So a moderate protein, preferably from plant sources with small amount of animal products, if you must, is going to be the strategy to use. You're going to be increasing your natural fats. So guys, there are good fats and bad fats. So we have books written. There's a book called Good Fat, Bad Fat, right? There are many books that I've read on this issue. So I'm just kind of picking out particular taglines to use. I could speak for weeks on just fats, but there are good fats and there are bad fats, right? There are some fats that are essential, like omega-3, 6, and 9, and most of us consume too much omega-6 and 9 anyway. That's in your vegetable oils and so on. Omega-3 is what we lack. Plant fats, such as what's in nuts, yeah? Such as what's in chia seed and flax seed and hemp seed. Plant fats, such as what's in avocado. These fats are healthy, polyunsaturated fats, which actually don't raise your cholesterol at all, because plants don't contain cholesterol. Coconut, I have to mention that coconut and olive oil, Mediterranean diet is loaded with olive oil. So these fats are healthy fats to consume. the amount of insulin they stimulate is minimal, and so they give you calories, they give you nutrients without triggering an insulin response. So replacing carbs in your diet will actually help you to feel satiated, meaning you're not hungry, be nourished properly without triggering insulin, which I said is the enemy. Insulin is the enemy where it concerns obesity. You need insulin, you can't live without it, you would starve to death, but too much insulin is our enemy. And at the bottom there I have prebiotics and probiotics are going to be a key way to actually help to reduce your insulin spikes. How? Well, everything goes through one channel, and that's your gut. Right? Everything goes through your gut, guys. And if you have poor gut function, you're going to have poor health. Hippocrates is the father of modern medicine. Yeah? Galen, one of the founding fathers of modern medicine, all believe that diseases began in the gut. And as research come around, we just completed the Human Microbiome Project, and we are understanding now that the bacteria in your gut lining outnumber us 10 to 1. The DNA material that is produced in your gut outnumber us 1,000 to 1. And what it means for the average person watching is that DNA is instruction. DNA is enzymes and molecules that have effects on your body. So insulin, for example, is the product of a strand of DNA. So it's read and made, and so you get insulin. The melanin in your skin is the product of a strand of DNA. So what we're understanding is that in our bodies, we have tons of bacteria. They have more DNA than us. And so guess what? A lot of the processes that take place in our body, a lot of the nutrients in our body, a lot of the enzymes that work in our body are not of human origin. They're of bacterial origin. Bacteria help to make this machine called your body works. And so if you have the insufficient bacteria or the wrong bacteria, you're going to have malfunction. And so we know that changing gut bacteria using special diets, probiotics, prebiotics. By prebiotics, I mean giving the body what the bacteria need to survive, which is fiber. That's in your vegetables and fruits. And probiotics are the actual bacteria themselves. And now we have something called postbiotics, which you'll hear from a company called Love Biome. More on that at another time. But prebiotics, probiotics, and postbiotics work together to create the environment in your gut that will close those channels so the glucose can't rush in. It moderates the amount of inflammation in your system. And we know inflammation raises insulin resistance. So by reducing inflammation, closing those small gap junctions in your intestine, so the absorption is moderate and at a normal pace, we can then begin to see reductions in insulin resistance. And this reduction is going to be temporary. So diet is going to have a temporary effect on your insulin resistance. So if you eat properly, your insulin resistance is going to be controlled and you're going to lose weight up to a point. And then it's going to plateau. So you cannot get everybody to lose weight down to a perfect body size with just diet alone. The diet is going to reach a point where it stops working and you plateau and may even start putting on back a little bit. So that's not the full answer. We have another section to go, but let's get a little more into the diet. A couple more thoughts to make your diet perfect. One is to make breakfast an optional meal. And this is going to tie me into the second part, which I'm talking about. So I'm talking about diet now. So we've always been told that breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Not really. Breakfast is one meal of the day. It's not more important than lunch or dinner. So you don't have to have breakfast. And I say that to say most of us who have breakfast is having a high carb, sugary meal. So in Jamaica, we have tea, and tea have sugar, whether it be milk or something like that, right? That's carbohydrate right there. In America, they'll have coffee with whatever milk. In England, they have tea with sugar. So the beverage in breakfast is tea with sugar. Then in America and more in Jamaica, we're having juice with the tea. So there's a glass of orange juice. So when you go to the hotels, for example, they're giving you a glass of different kind of juices that you'll have. And then, guys, you're gonna have some kind of pastry. So there's gonna be some bread, which is carbohydrate, or some croissant, or some bagel, or some cupcakes, all carbs. So we're talking about all carbs here now for breakfast. This is breakfast. Or in Jamaica, if you grew up like me, you got porridge, which is corn, or oats, or rice, or plantain with sugar, carbohydrate. So if you think about breakfast, it's like the worst meal for most of us. It's the worst meal. If you never had breakfast, you'll be better off, because you're getting lots of carbs and sugar every single morning to start your day, which you absolutely do not need, and which sets you up for chronic obesity, diabetes, cancer, dementia, and all these things. So breakfast is not the most important meal. And if you don't have breakfast, it doesn't mean that your day is gonna go bad. When I skip breakfast, yeah, I don't actually die. I've done that, thousands of days, and I think clearer. I'm not dying for hunger at work. Actually, I don't go to work with carbohydrate load on my brain with niggeritis, or we call postprandial somnolence. I don't feel sleepy because I'm still fasting. So skipping breakfast should be a healthy option for most of us. Second thing I want you guys to start doing is to read labels. Yes, so Melissa talked about counting carbs. Is not really something that we do. I don't count carbs, to be honest, but I read labels, because there's a lot more in the labels than just the carbs. There are if you look at the breakfast cereals, for example, so I didn't even mention that. So look at the cornflakes and the different Fruit Loops and the, I wouldn't even mention the breakfast cereals with the sugar on the outside and all of these things. These are all carbs. But if you look on the label, then you become absolutely frightened and astonished at the amount of sugar that we're feeding our kids and feeding ourselves in the morning. Breakfast cereals are the worst. It's better you go and buy some KFC, people. If you want to avoid diabetes and you're supposed to choose between a breakfast cereal and a burger at KFC, choose the burger. I kid you not. These breakfast cereals are crazy sugar, and then they contain GMO corn or wheat, which you're told is healthy, which is absolutely rubbish. It's not. All right, and you can quote me on this. Say Dr. Thomas said breakfast cereal is the worst meal ever, and wheat being healthy for you is a lie. Tweet that out and put my name beside it. Let them come. I'll show the evidence. All right. Desserts, guys, is another thing you should look at. Now, desserts is, is that little nice, enjoyable finish to your meal. But it doesn't have to be something sweet. It can be something, tasty. It can be, some nuts, with whatever, you want to put on it. It can be some fruits, it can be some fruits which is gonna have sugar but have fiber to allow that sugar to enter your system very slowly. Snacking is a big issue for people. Some people think that, I can't be hungry. As I get hungry, I need to be eating something. And that's a lie. No, I thought that, and this was from many years from experience, that when you get hungry and you start feeling belly cramps and you start having dizziness or headache or whatever symptom you have when you start and you don't eat, it's just going to get worse and worse until, I don't know how it happened. So naturally, when you feel hungry, whatever we're doing, if we can't stop, we stop and eat. But I discovered through fasting that that's not really how hunger works. You feel hungry, yeah? You don't eat. The hunger gets worse. You don't eat. Then guess what happens? The hunger goes away. Hunger comes and goes in waves. It goes away, especially if you're busy doing something or you drink some water. The hunger doesn't continue into infinity until you die. That's not how hunger works. So a snack is you copping out at the first sign of a little discomfort. No, hold out. You will not die. You will live to declare. all right, you will actually be able to strengthen your resolve, not just in managing food, but in managing every temptation life has to offer. And food is the way you train yourself. You use food to train yourself to become stronger and more resilient in the face of adversity and discomfort. And you don't give in and throw in it all at every feeling. Listen, guys, being hungry is a sign that you're alive and well and reminds you need food, yes, but there are more important things in life than food. The Bible said, man shall not live by bread alone. And many of us don't seem to understand this at a deep level. Let's go down. Coffee and tea. Now, I'm Adventist, so Adventists don't drink coffee. But where the science is concerned, coffee has its good sides and its bad sides. And there are lots of evidence that coffee can actually lengthen your lifespan. Yes, it can actually improve brain function in the short term if consumed in moderation. Coffee has antioxidant properties. And so if you're a coffee drinker and you drink one coffee every day, I'm not going to kill you for that. I'm not going to drink one coffee every day because a coffee is addictive and it can have effects. Some people have palpitations and so on. And tea, green tea, black tea, Chinese tea, oolong tea, these teas have various antioxidant protective benefits for your skin and your heart. And they have ECGC, which is huge nutrient for your body, just like resveratrol and all these things. So coffee and tea, if you're going to consume them, you have to consume black, no sugar, or with coconut milk. That's the best way to have those beverages, guys. My thing is more chocolate, Jamaican chocolate cocoa. So these things that you have like Hershey's and so on, that's an adulteration of what God made. Have your chocolate, real chocolate tea, not the ones in the tin. Get the real chocolate and have that with coconut milk, no sugar added, and have your cinnamon and a little bit of sea salt. Guys, this is an awesome beverage to start your day. And if you're going to have something to drink, which is where many of us fall down, we think that we have to have a little something in the water, a little fizz, a little sugar, a little flavor. No, you can have water. You can have coconut water. You can have apple cider vinegar in your water, which is actually going to give you probiotics if you have the right one with the mother. It's going to basically help to aid your digestion. You can have vegetable juices. This is awesome. This is the ultimate fast food. All the vitamins in a easy to. So for example, guys, as doctor says, you're supposed to have seven servings of vegetables per day. No, that's hard. But no, it's not hard if you blend your vegetables and make a smoothie or a juice. And in one cup of green juice, you can have 3 servings of vegetables. You can consume it in seconds, and in 15 minutes, all that nutrition is in your bloodstream, floating around, killing cancer cells, oxygenating your brain, giving you energy. Guys, green juice is ultimate fast food. If you're in Jamaica or in tropics, coconut water. My heart hurts me every time I visit the US and see coconut water in tin. And I taste it, and it tastes like crap. I don't know what these companies, I understand they're trying to bring the tropics to the northern hemisphere and bring some of the island goodness so you can enjoy while you're living in the freezers. I hope I'm not offending anybody. But oh my God, I hate to see those things. I cannot bear to see coconut water in tin with sugar added. Coconut water is an awesome option though, if you have it available to consume, to nourish your body. So those are the kind of choices I want you to make to lower your insulin levels and so address insulin resistance, which is the underpinning for most of the world's obesity. If you do this, your weight loss becomes effortless. Now, we've talked about food, and I said if you eat properly for 10 years, you're going to reach a point after about 6 months where you will lose a certain amount of weight and you will lose no more. You're not going to lose. No. That's not how it works. Melissa will tell you this. So we see this. You lose to a point, put you on HCG, put you on diet, you lose to a point, and then you lose no more. And if you take off your foot off the gas, you gain it back. So how do we solve this problem? The issue is that your insulin resistance wasn't solved. So that insulin is still acting on your hypothalamus and telling your body that you need to be 250 pounds. And that's where you're going to stay at for the rest of your life. So we need to get that insulin down. So you can tell your hypothalamus you need to be at 180 pounds or 170 pounds. How do we do this? Guys, you eat and then you fast. Okay, fine. Fasting is a bad word for many of you, but guess what? Just hear me. Fasting has been a part of the human experience since human beings have existed. Sometimes we did it because there was just nothing to eat. And sometimes it was because of religious purposes. So every religion that you can think of, the Muslims have a month of Ramadan where they fast from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., sunrise to sunset. The Buddhists, the Hindus, the Christians have fasting as part of their religion. So fasting is a part of the human experience and is a legitimate way that we have practiced religion and used it for health for many centuries. It's nothing new. It's just in this era of our dispensation that we think that we need to be eating round the clock. And if we don't eat for 24 hours, we are going to die. Guys, that's crap. We need to now go back and understand that fasting is one of nature's greatest remedy. Have you ever noticed that when you feel sick with a flu or cold, your appetite goes? Why is that? And you're there trying to force feed yourself and force feed the kids that they're not eating. Him have a flu, give him some tonic for him eat. Listen, people, listen. Your body knows what's best for you. Your body was developed by an intelligent creator and it knows what's best for you. So when you have a flu or a cold or any disease, and your appetite goes, let it go. Hippocrates said, if you eat when you're sick, you're feeding your sickness. Let me repeat that. You can write that down. You can WhatsApp that. If you eat when you're sick, you're feeding your sickness. When you have a flu and your appetite goes, and all you want is water because you're thirsty, what it does is it relieves your body of the stress of digesting food. Yes, the process of digestion and assimilation is energy intense. It sucks energy from your brain, from your immune system to go to your gut to screen and break down and digest and absorb that food. If there's a virus in your system, that's going to spread. Your body says, no, we need all resources available for the immune system. No food, no exercise, because lay down and sleep, eat nothing, drink water. That's how your body heals itself. That's nature's way of healing. So fasting, not eating, is a good thing, guys. It's not a bad thing. Fasting can lower your blood pressure, your blood sugar. Now, Dr. David Sinclair of Harvard Medical School has been pioneering research in fasting for many years, and he's discovered 7 genes. He named them, well, they named them the sirtuin genes. And these 7 genes control longevity. They control DNA repair and preventing damage. And they have found that one of the biggest ways to turn on these genes is to fast. So hold on, my battery on my laptop is dying. Let me get my cord, guys. I'm losing battery. Give me a sec. Yeah, thanks for waiting. You don't want to miss this part, right? So we have power, yes. So you ever heard the term, what doesn't kill you make you stronger? Yes, so certain genes are stimulated and turned on by adversity, put in your body through stress. And fasting is the most effective way to turn on those 7 genes that make you live longer and fight disease and increase stem cells in your body. So avoiding food for periods of time increases your lifespan, increases the healthy years of your life, rids you of many diseases, and I just name one, cancer. Why do I say cancer? Because cancer is in part a disease of DNA repair dysfunction. You have damage to your DNA. It's one theory of how cancer comes about. Damage to your DNA from radiation, from foods you eat, from chemicals, from stress, and that leads to abnormal cell proliferation. Yeah. Fasting, yeah, activates your sirtuin genes, which enhance DNA repair, prevents cancer. That's like so simple. So by not eating, guys, you make your body healthier and live longer. Yeah. So
Okay,
it's a
thank you
natural
for
remedy.
that. Lee?
No, Lee's not here, miss. Hold on, let me just admit 2 persons that are waiting to join. All right. Anyway, guys, let us get back here. Now, so fasting, when you fast, you go through different phases. So here are the 5 phases that I want to go through with you. If you don't get this part so clear, no problem, but let me go through. So the first phase is feeding. So you're eating. And so that's the first phase that I'd say of fasting. So you're feeding and you're digesting and assimilating food, and you're going to be using in the second phase, the post-absorptive phase. You've absorbed the food, you're going to be using the glucose and the fats and the amino acids from what you just consumed. And this post-absorptive phase may last between 6 and 24 hours. So after you eat a meal, that meal, depending on what you eat and how your body burns it, it may serve you for about 6 to 24 hours. You know, if you're doing a lot of physical activity, in training, like you're saying, both them, you're going to burn through all that food within 6 hours. So as early as 6 hours, your body may run out of the food that you just consumed. So for most of us, it's going to be about 12 hours to up to 18 hours for the average person. So after your body runs out of the food that you ate, the next thing that is going to happen is the body is going to go into gluconeogenesis. So your body is going to use resources you have stored. Well, initially it's going to use glycogen from the liver and amino acids that are floating around free in the blood to actually start the process of forming glucose so your brain can run and your muscles can run and you can move around and work and live. And that may last anywhere from between 6 hours after you eat your last meal up to about 36 hours, right? After 36 hours, for some people, 24. For me, last time I checked, it was 24. When your body runs out of glycogen and runs out of free fatty acids and free amino acids in the blood, your body then has to turn to the next readily available source of energy, which is your fat. So guys, if you're trying to burn fat, you start burning stored fat about 36 hours after your last meal. So if you eat again and again and again, you will not be burning no fat. You're just tricking yourself. If you exercise in the gym, you're not burning no fat, okay? You burn fat after a prolonged period of fast. And for me and some people, 24 hours might be, you know, a good estimate, but 30 hours is guaranteed. And at this point, you start producing what we call ketones. That is what is produced when you break down fat to use as fuel. And your brain can use ketones efficiently. So when I did my first fast, after about 2 days into the fast of not eating, my brain was clear. I was still able to give to my most energy hungry organ in my body adequate supply of fuel. From where? From the fat that I have on, and I don't have on much, if you can see. So imagine you have on, your body gonna be running good. Ketones are a very clean fuel. You know, here we talk about LNG and, you know, we talk about, you know, renewable. Yeah, ketones is like a renewable resource. So ketosis kicks in about 24 to 36 hours, and that lasts for depending on how much fat you have on your body. After about 5 days, your body begins to produce growth hormones and other factors that cause protein conservation. So you don't break down your muscle and get thin and weak. And persons have sustained fasts for 6 weeks, 8 weeks. In the Bible, Moses did 80 days of fasting. And it had a record of persons doing 300 and odd days of fasting with just water and nutrients without dying. So to do a 3-day, 5-day, 10-day fast, guys, is not a superhuman effort. People do these things all the time. And if you can muster the courage to begin to practice intermittent fasting. Well, let me see if I have that on my next slide. Should have it, yeah. Hold on. Okay, so yes, I did speak about those already. Yes, so there are going to be 3 fasts that I'm going to recommend to you guys. So the first and easiest one to begin doing, and the whole point of fasting, guys, is to reduce your insulin resistance long term. This is how you reduce insulin long term, because as I said, even fats can stimulate insulin. If you're going on a low fat, if you're going on a high fat diet, you're still going to have insulin and insulin resistance. It doesn't go away. It just kind of delays until you start eat again. But when you fast, there's nothing to stimulate insulin, and your pancreatic cells begin to recover, yeah? And your body becomes more responsive to insulin. Your hypothalamus set points go down. And so the permanent cure for your weight problem is to incorporate periods of fasting into your daily routine permanently. Here is how you do it. And I'm finishing up now, guys, because I've gone through the two, and I'm going to repeat the two important things that I want you to get this evening. This is your permanent solution for weight loss. I'm telling you the secret. So you can practice intermittent fasting, which is where you restrict intake for a period of time. My preferred one is 18:6 ratio. So you have your 2 or 3 meals within 6 hours. And I prefer 2 meals, to be honest. So for example, you might want to have breakfast at 8 and lunch by 2. And that's your last meal until the next day again. So you'd have eaten in a 6-hour time span and fasted for 18 hours. So you have 18 hours for your body to burn through what you ate and to hopefully start getting to some, repair and using up some stored resources that you have in your body. But it doesn't yet get to the fat on your tummy. No, you don't start burning that yet. Remember, I told you that kick in about 24 to 36 hours into your fast. Okay, and that's why it's so hard to burn tummy fat. Because when you're doing abs, for example, you're not burning tummy fat. No, you're burning glucose that you just ate, and you're tightening your abs muscles, which helps with the shape, but you're not burning the fat. No. Now you can do intermittent fasting long term, but every now and then, maybe once a week, you need to put in a day when you have 24 hours of fast. Oh. Intermittent fasting can also be done by having lunch and dinner. So lunch should be at midday, dinner by 6. So 6 hours, your 2 meals with no snacks in between, people. Don't need no snacks. Every now and then, once a week, you should be doing a 1-day fast, which means that from 6 this evening to 6 the next evening, you're consuming water and tea. If you drink coffee, fine, without sugar. So no calories, just fluids with no carbohydrate, fat, or protein in it. Whatever flavor you want to have cinnamon tea, mint tea, ginger tea. Coconut water isn't really allowed because it has fats in it and carbohydrate, okay? So you do a 24-hour fast once a week. And then every couple of weeks, you might want to do a fast longer than 24 hours, which is really where you get to the real fat burning. So maybe every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks, you're going to be doing a 2-day or a 3-day fast. And if you do this long term, you will gradually start seeing the fat coming off your tummy, yes? And you will realize that your diabetes starts to get reversed, yes? Your hypertension starts to go away. And guys, with persons who are in the group that I'm with now, who are doing the 14-day challenge, persons are reporting blood pressure reductions that they have never seen in their life in just 4 days into the diet that we have them on and exercise routine that we have them on. It's amazing when people dedicate their minds, and fasting is not starvation, guys. Starvation is when you don't have no food and you don't know where the next meal is coming from. Fasting is a deliberate attempt to influence your body's metabolism that you yourself, in conjunction with the commercial food producers, have messed up, willingly or unwillingly, knowingly or unknowingly. So fasting, guys, is the second arm. So let me recap the 2 important things. And I'm seeing a lot of persons here, 400 persons on TikTok, a lot of them on YouTube. Welcome, guys. I'm ending now for questions. So if you have weight problems, if you have belly fat problems, 2 things you need to do. 1, to solve your problem permanently. 1, you need to go on a diet that includes reduced calories, eliminate sugars and refined carbs and grains like corn, oats, rice, wheat. have healthy fats and healthy proteins, lots of vegetables, nuts and seeds and grains. Not grains, sorry, nuts and seeds. And you're going to do fasting, intermittent fasting, which means 2 meals per day, 6 hours apart, meals that you love, that are tasty. It means should be nutritious. Guys, I don't like boring food. And I've spent time learning how to cook and how to decorate the plate. How the food looks on the plate is very important to your ability to sustain the diet. If you're on a diet and it's bland and it's boring, you're gonna get bored and tired. Guys, spend time to prepare your food properly, to make it look, delicious, appealing, appetizing, to make it taste wonderful. Spend time, guys, to find out the natural seasonings and the condiments and sauces to make your food taste good. If you love it, I can sustain my diet that I'm on now long term because I absolutely love what I eat every day. I don't eat boring food. If it's boring, I'm not eating it. I don't like dry food. I like a little something, a little spice. My food have to taste good. So I sustain my diet because I enjoy it. So you have to find things that you enjoy. Second option, guys, second thing, guys, is you need to do fasting. Intermittent fasting daily, once a week, 1 day fast. Every couple of weeks, you do a 2 or 3 day fast. In a nutshell, that is how you solve obesity long term. Now, I see persons in TikTok asking questions about how you get into my 14-day challenge. All right, so we're doing one challenge now. I have 700 odd, almost 800 people on that challenge. It's taken a lot out of me. So I'm going to be doing one when this one is finished. So in another week and a half, we're at day 4. So 10 days time, a new challenge will be launched. And after that, another one. So it will be a minimal fee to enter. You'll get 14 days of coaching, diet plans, as a community group thing where we encourage other boost, other people measure on whatever. It's going to be awesome. And after that 14 days, guys, I'm going to allow you to plug into my network to stay with me as I'm on this journey to be healthy till 90. You can follow me for the rest of your life and get all my tips and my voice in your ears and my publications to your phone long term, so you can sustain a healthy diet with a community of people who is on the same journey like you are. So thank you all. Chloe, it's back over to you for the questions. I'll look on my TikTok and take a few questions depending on the time, but somebody could monitor the YouTube tomorrow, monitor the YouTube for me, and you could take questions from there. Chloe, back over to you.
Oh, thank you so much, Dr. Thomas. Wow, this was biology and chemistry and everybody in between, plus good advice. And I learned some things I didn't want to learn. For example, the oatmeal, that part, I didn't want to learn that. But good thing I'm on the steel cut oat, so I'm okay. All right. So, but I noticed there are a few questions in the chat. And those of you who are online, please raise your hands if you have a question. But I'm going to give Dr. Thomas the questions on the chat first. Oh, where was this one? This one was about sugar. Doctor, can you explain why there's constant weight loss without doing anything in a diabetic person? I'm not so sure I understand that. Maybe you do.
Yeah, so in a diabetic person who has very high blood sugar, when they're just finding out, for example, they're going to lose weight, we call it starving in the midst of plenty. So the person who's diabetic either has low insulin or they have insulin resistance. And so it means that whenever you eat, guys, the sugar from your food is in your bloodstream. It can't get into your muscle cells or into your liver, your kidney, or your brain. It goes into the bloodstream and your body passes it out into your urine. And so you're losing through your urine everything you consume. And so the weight loss is rapid and you feel hungry and you feel thirsty. So these are pathognomonic signs of diabetes in its early stage or very high blood sugars. And it's very dangerous. If you are having that problem, rapid weight loss from diabetes, you are in serious trouble. You need to see your doctor immediately like tonight, right? Because this is serious. This is life-threatening if it's allowed to continue. Next question.
Okay, somebody wants to know if, I don't know, I just see Ackee. I probably think they want to know, is Ackee good to eat or not? I think that's probably what they're asking.
Healthy, low carb, good amount of fats, high amount of fiber, great food. Enough Ackee, love Ackee, yeah.
Okay.
No,
something
I
about
was saying it's a natural fat.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Oh, thank you. I think Oh, yeah, I think that's it. Oh, what about stevia and allulose as sugars, Dr. Thomas?
Okay, so stevia and what the other one is?
Allulose.
I don't-
Allulose. I don't know this
okay,
one either.
stevia and, well, I'm not sure if allulose or something else, but that sounds like they are natural sweeteners. Stevia, for example, is from a leaf. So it's able to impart to your food a sweet taste without providing calories or stimulating insulin. But what we've found is that when you consume stevia, while it's natural, it perpetuates your sugar cravings. So persons who consume natural or artificial sugars continue to crave sugar even more, and they eventually give in. So they end up gaining weight and having diabetes anyway. So what you must learn to do is to rid yourself gradually of this insatiable appetite for sugar. No sugar, no sweet. Gradually wean yourself off and relegate it to occasional occasions when you have a big event or something that you're celebrating and you want to have a little piece of cake or a little something, you know, a little ice cream. You know, we are humans. We're going to have these things. We're going to break the rules every now and then. That's fine. But the day-to-day routine has to be living out the sweets. Except for you're going to, you know?
I have a quick
And now, before you continue, Nadine, there's another one online past, Dr. Thomas. Can I fast if I'm a pregnant person?
For a pregnant person, no. For persons who are breastfeeding and pregnant, we're not recommending fasting, no. We go based on research, and not many pregnant mothers have volunteered for fasting for us to see the effect on their babies. So no, you need to be healthy and well. And if you're having a condition like pregnancy or anything else, speak to your doctor before you start any kind of fasting, right? But pregnant mothers, no, we're not putting on no fast.
If I'm feeling hungry, go ahead, sorry.
Intermittent fast is fine. So you want to do a, you know, two meals a day, that's okay. But prolonged fast, no, not a great idea.
If you're feeling hungry, can you eat some fruits? I guess this would be like a snack thing. Can we have fruits?
Snacking. So if you're feeling hungry, drink some water. Fruits can be a meal or can be had with a meal. So if some people will have headaches and jitters and stomach aches. So fine, a healthy snack might be a fruit, you know, low carbohydrate fruit like a blueberry or strawberry or out-to-eat apple or a little bit of nuts. But you know, the habit you want to develop is to not to be eating between meals, to allow your body to digest and absorb properly before you're putting more food on top of undigested food, and so make your stomach upset and malfunction. All right. So you want to get to that you can sustain without a snack.
What is the alternative to oats? This person says, I have it every day. What can I use instead of oats?
Well, as I said, you can have the steel-cut old-fashioned oats, but for breakfast, you know, you guys should know my world-famous smoothie by now. So it's world-famous for a reason. So you can check that out. You can have smoothies for breakfast. You can have your staples, you know, your potatoes and, you know, your bammies if you're from the Caribbean, your plantains and so on if you're into meat and so on. Eggs are a great breakfast option. You know, if you want to have a cereal, your cereal could include, you know, your almond or, you know, coconut milk with some pecans and some almonds crushed up, maybe some chia seed, maybe a little bit of fruit in there. That gives an excellent cereal that's going to be low glycemic and nutritious. I love chia, Chloe. I don't know if you have had chia pudding before. Yeah, soaking chia in milk and adding fruits to it and adding your cinnamon or nutmeg. That's an excellent meal that's high in fiber, gonna keep you satiated all day and very low in calories. So there are lots of healthy breakfast options. I didn't wanna, well, I should have gotten into those, but I didn't. Yeah.
Why is it that I feel sleepy when I fast? This is from somebody.
That's a little unusual. I don't generally get that. You may have issues regulating blood sugar. So your blood sugar may be dropping too low. And that's one reason why you may feel weak. So you may want to do shorter and shorter fasts to get yourself into a longer fast. You don't want to jump into a long fast from not fasting at all. So maybe try an 18-hour first for a couple of weeks. Then you go into a 24-hour. So your body is more acclimatized to that. You know, maybe get a blood sugar monitor your blood sugar to see what's going on if it's dropping too low. While you're fasting. You may have an underlying infection, and that may actually make you feel drowsy and weak when you're fasting. So there are lots of people with chronic infections that they don't know, sinus issues, for example. plus a fast is gonna cause some issues for you. So, get a check done, get your executive profile and see if there's some infection in your system and see what's going on. Maybe your blood count is low. So if you're anemic and you're fasting, of course, you're gonna feel weaker. And, so there are issues that you need to look into. Get a blood test done and see what's going on.
Okay, thank you. Kenneth, your hand is up. Can you speak, unmute and speak now?
I'm sorry, that was the question I wanted to ask. However, let me ask, what is gas, and is gas a disease?
Well, gas is real, Kenneth, but gas does not affect your head and your hand and your foot. Gas is something that occurs in your intestine when bacteria in your intestine meets up with certain kinds of foods. So there are certain bacteria we call gas-forming bacteria that will form methane gas and carbon dioxide gas and other gases when they come in contact with dairy or certain kinds of beans or even cabbage. So yeah, if you're having gas issue, you may want to get a flush and colon cleanse, maybe some probiotics, look at taking out foods that are called gas-forming foods out of your diet. It's not a disease, but it's a symptom of diseases. Irritable bowel syndrome, called IBS, has gas and bloating as one of its major symptoms. So if you're having that, maybe you could have IBS or something else, but it's a symptom of a disease, not a disease.
So Dean says, I tend to get bloated and gassy when I have peas and beans. What are the alternatives for vegans?
Well, so as I said, you may want to look at what's going on with your bowel bacteria. You may want to get a colon cleanse and get some probiotic foods. Fermented foods are going to be important. So if you're into like pickles and sauerkraut and kombucha, these are excellent foods. Apple cider vinegar to actually help to reduce gas by giving you healthy probiotics to digest food properly. You may want to do some sprouting, Kenneth. So your peas and beans, you may want to sprout them, as a way to reduce the carbohydrate load and to make them easily absorbable, digestible. So sprouting might be your perfect answer, but the other things I mentioned may be good for you.
What is sprouting?
Google it, Kenneth. Can't get it out there now.
Thanks.
All right.
Okay. Okay. Is there anybody else with another question or comment? Please.
Check on YouTube. Tamara is here. Anybody can go on YouTube and check. I'm sure there are questions on YouTube, but I'm on TikTok on my phone and on here, so I can't be on YouTube. So
yeah, I'm checking just this one. But one of the things I could say though, Dr. Thomas, is that I basically have 2 meals a day. I find that if I eat 3 times a day, I'm so uncomfortable. So I just basically have 2 meals and I'm fine.
Okay, well, if that works for you, that's awesome. I'm kind of there myself, and I'm aiming maybe one day to have only 1 huge meal a day. And so I'm fasting for kind of 24 hours around the clock because I want to live to 100 and in good health. So less meals you have, guys, to get to old age healthy. Here's something you want to remember. Eat less foods, right? Well, sorry. Eat healthy foods and less of them. I heard a wise man say, eat healthy foods are the best foods and less of. The less you eat, the better for you. And we're not talking about starvation. We're talking about nourishing your body in a calorie-dense, nutrient-dense way. All right?
Another question.
On YouTube.
All right, TikTok, I'm coming to you with your answers. Just give me a sec. When I come off this, I'm coming TikTok to answer your question. So just hold on. Just hold with me. All right, go ahead, Flo.
Can dieting correct anemia?
Well, it depends. Anemia is a big term, Flo. Anemia has many causes, and so many people would assume that once you're anemic, you are low in iron, and that's not the case for every person. So yes, one common cause of anemia is iron deficiency, and yes, you can use diet to increase your iron intake to correct that. If your blood count is 4 and you have shortness of breath, then you need to be in a hospital to get blood. That's a different scenario. So if you're having symptoms of anemia, your blood count is 4, 5, 6, and you're tired easily and sleepy and having headache every day, you may need to get iron supplementation or even blood. Now, anemia can be caused by chronic diseases. So the most common anemia that exists today is no longer iron deficiency, but anemia of chronic diseases. So you have a kidney failure, you have a hypertension, a diabetes, a arthritis, a sinus. These things cause inflammation, which influence your production of red blood cells. And unless you address these, no amount of iron will help. Copper deficiency causes anemia. That's not very well known. So you need to look up copper deficiency and look at what foods contain copper to make sure that you're getting enough copper. That's diet again. Can have anemia because it's inherited, like sickle cell or thalassemia or whatever. No, diet is not going to correct that. So guys, it depends. What is causing your anemia? You need to answer that question, and then you'll be able to figure out what the reason, what the fix is. Okay, so it's not just eating a lot of iron-containing foods.
Dr. Thomas, there is a question on YouTube. So this is to address something you talk about. So amaranth is a grain. It's tend to be higher in iron. And someone is asking, how about having amaranth instead of the oats?
Well, I would need to research that, to be honest. I don't know that grain in detail. I cannot answer that. I know grains contain different types of gluten, and so the no grain movement would exclude amaranth. I've seen the name, but I've never actually seen it in my life. I've never tasted it. Amaranth tend to be one of those grains that have not been subjected to genetic modification or much processing. It's not very popular, and so if you're gonna use that, sure, you can get natural whole forms in the way that God made them. So it may be a better alternative, but I can't recommend it highly, especially for persons who are trying to lose weight. If you're trying to lose weight, belly fat coming off, trying to control diabetes, then generally a no grain diet is preferred, but amaranth might be a better option than Fosca or whatever refined oats that you have. That's what I'd say.
Okay, any other question, guys?
Thank you. Someone is asking about, okay, I am not going to be eating, but what about if I have to take my medication and it requires to say, I suppose this is implying like in a fasting period they're fasting, but they're having to take their medication. What your recommendation for that?
Again, it's going to be dependent on what medication you're talking about. Like, some medications do work best when you have a meal, but it doesn't mean they don't work. Some medications will cause stomach upset when you take them on empty stomach, but it doesn't mean they don't work. Some medications do require to eat, otherwise they'll cause serious side effects like pain medication. And so there are some persons who may have to not do the long fast or may have to stop the medication, but it depends. It's not a one answer for every single person. So you have to speak to your doctor about that. Or if you can reach me to ask me specifically about your situation, I would have to answer that question on a case-by-case basis. I can't give a one answer for everybody.
And then finally, someone is just asking that they would love to have a cookbook with all your great ideas and meal, and when will that be coming?
All right. I'm working on a book with you tomorrow. If everybody didn't know, I'm working on a book with Melissa. Which for diabetes, I'm working on a book by myself. I have 3 books working on one time. All of them include some dietary advice and recommendation. And then the 14-day program that I'm going to be doing, I've prepared a diet guide for that, and I'm going to be working on that. So, and you have lots of videos, and I'm going to be doing more videos. So there's going to be tons of advice about diet coming from me constantly. A cookbook, I never thought about that as yet. I have so many other books in my head to get out. So a cookbook maybe like a couple of years down the line, not this year, not next year.
Okay, somebody's asking, what if I have low blood pressure? I'm assuming they're asking possibly about the fasting if they have a low blood pressure.
Yeah, so that's not really an issue. If you have your water with your salt in it, your sea salt, you have, that can definitely help to maintain blood pressure. Low blood pressure is not gonna be influenced a lot by you eating or not eating. So I'm not really concerned. My blood pressure tends to, in the past, be on the normal to borderline low side, and I haven't had any negative effects from fasting with a low blood pressure. You just need to make sure that you're well hydrated and you have your minerals, and your blood pressure will maintain perfectly. Have your minerals, add your sea salt, add your lemon juice to your water, and you'll be fine.
Doc, have you thought about doing a podcast channel?
Yes, I have already recorded the first 2 episodes of my podcast, my dear. It will be on Patreon, so it'll be subscription only. You will be able to see excerpts of it on TikTok and on YouTube, but I'm sure you'll be subscribing and supporting the hard work I'm doing. So yeah, well, not yet launched, but 2 episodes have been filmed already, and we're editing for launch soon. So yeah, I'm way ahead of you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right.
Just one more from YouTube. You said it before, but maybe the person joined late. They're asking about substitute ideas for bread, because that's a main staple, for example, for breakfast.
Okay, so bread is no longer in my house. So in the mornings, I have my smoothies. I have bami sometimes. So we have steamed bami, fried bamis. We have sweet potatoes, yams, bananas. So there are lots of options there for bread replacements. I have, so I don't, do breads anymore. It gives me bumps. Have you guys seen my skin recently? Oh my God, my skin is so beautiful. I love it. No bread. No. So guys, there are lots of breakfast options. Just watch my videos and you'll see. So I don't have, so guys, there are some gluten-free breads on the market. Please don't buy them. Right? It's crap. If you want, you can maybe get your own almond flour or your cassava flour or your sweet potato flour, bread flour, and make your own bread if you're that inclined to have something soft and mushy to munch on. So you can actually research. We've tried at home to make our own breads. Don't always turn out well, so so I'm not really too into the bread thing. That was a fail. So yeah, but there are lots of flour alternatives in the staple family. There's banana flour and all of these things you can buy, and you can use them to make your pastry without having to deal with the gluten and the grains. So that's my recommendation there.
Melissa, go ahead.
I noticed I'm helping out with this the person asking about bread. Now, green plantain, we have green plantain. God has blessed us with green plantain, and we can use that to make a wrap. If you're in the Be Healthy group, I had posted a video showing how to make the green plantain wrap. For persons who are in the group, I can repost it. I have that video still. So you can use the green plantain. It's there are other persons who make it on YouTube in different ways, and you can use that as a bread alternative and as a breakfast.
I make it like sandwich. I should have like the green plantain, they press it out and bake it and make it into thin little sheet.
And I did post something like that in the Be Healthy group. The breadfruit is also an option. You can use the breadfruit, cut it lengthwise, and use that as a patty as well. So our bread sandwich to sandwich.
Kenya, my chef, has done that. I should remember. Kenya has made me, plantain sandwich.
Right.
That was awesome. I love that. Yeah.
So you have lots of options as it relates to bread replacement. If you're overseas, you can still get your green plantains. You can use the oats as well to make your wraps. You can use quinoa to make wraps. You can use lentils to make wraps. So those are bread alternatives that you can use. I have posted some of these videos, but I will be posting them again.
Okay. From YouTube, we have, so someone is saying, Dr. Thomas, could you just give me some ideas for lunch for the kids? I'm having a challenge with that. And then, of course, we have a question.
So guys, I know. Hold on, Mara. I'm going to go to TikTok. There are lots of people waiting. So I'm going to say goodbye to this group. God, so we got like 400 people over here still waiting, asking tons of questions. So that person can come out to my TikTok channel to join the live. I'm gonna be still in the group here, but that's gonna be a lot of questions to answer. So I'm sorry, I gotta run because there's tons of questions here and people are agitated.
So we're gonna end this session now?
Yep, you can
initiate. Okay.
Please.
All right, so I want to thank you, Dr. Thomas, for this very, 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 very informative session, and thanks to all the participants. Melissa, thank you too. You did an awesome job as well. And we have learned so much that we're going to practice in our daily lives. And I just want to pray God's blessings on all of us as we try to live healthy and better for ourselves and for others and for God's glory. So thank you all for being here, and may God bless all of you. Thank you and God bless. Melissa, you wanted to say something? Go ahead.
No. Sorry, I didn't realize I didn't lower my hand. Good night, everybody, and thanks for
Okay, good night, everyone. Take care and God bless.
Good night.
Oh, wait. You tell about Calvin? You see, they do we are back out and door, and I think you can look to see. I don't know the back. You still like go back out backside. Yeah, man, I push, man. Yeah. Pussy, see? Yeah, man, the ginger puss.
Yeah, going through the questions here. What other question is there? What's the cost to visit your office? Well, it costs, there's lots of costs depending on what you want. You want a regular visit, functional medicine consultation? Do you want a procedure done? Do you want some tests? There is not one fixed cost, guys. I have my costs start at cost to see a doctor at my practice starts at 3.5 and go way up to over 20 grand depending on what you want. So That depends. So be specific. Can I have butter beans? Okay. Why do I feel nervous when I'm hungry? Your blood sugar dropping too low. So maybe you have high insulin, and so the high insulin is dropping your blood sugar very low. Maybe you're having too much carbs. So when you have a lot of carbs, it sends your insulin level up. So when you're not eating, your blood sugar will drop low. So modify what you eat. And if you're overweight, definitely want to work on your insulin, because that's really was what I talked about this evening as being the key to you losing weight long term, to get the insulin levels down by reducing your carbs, increasing your healthy fats and proteins, and certainly consuming lots of fermented foods, probiotic foods, and fasting, intermittent and 24-hour and longer fasting as a routine part of your strategy. This will get your weight down permanently. Doctor here about a rash or detox patch that's on the market from overseas. Detox patch. I've not heard about that detox patch. I'm sorry. Low blood sugar. Okay. Work on a book for PCOS too, please. Okay. All right. I'm gonna be doing, guys. I'm gonna be doing short diet plans for different conditions. So in another couple of weeks, the link in my bio will be replaced by a website on which you'll be able to access all my publications. Most will be free. Some you'll have to purchase for 99 cents, but I'm definitely gonna be doing a brochure, maybe 5 pages, for my recommendations for PCOS, because it's a big issue. So diet plans, what should eat, what not to eat, what kind of exercise you should do, what kind of supplements you should take, and the dosages. So I'm going to be working on that. So that will be out, guys. 99 cents, and you'll be able to get your PCOS plan from where you are in the world. And so that's going to be on the website. That's going to be on my bio in about a week or two. So look out for that. That will be available. Okay. Doc, lower my belly. My belly is always bloated and is uncomfortable. What's a good cleanser? Yeah, so I use like a number of things for that. So one, you want to, as I said, avoid foods that make you bloated, like lots of beans and peas, dairy products, cabbage and broccoli. You want to have lots of probiotic rich foods like your sauerkraut and fermented foods like your kimchi or your tempeh and natto, your kombucha. You definitely want to be taking your probiotics. And if you want a good wash out, that's like something called the cleaner. You get that on Amazon, the cleaner. They have male and female, just branding. All right. Foggy eyes, okay. Talk to me. All right, I've answered the butterbean question already. All right, what else? Doc, can a person with a 4-centimeter fibroid get pregnant? Yeah, absolutely. You can get pregnant with fibroids. Fibroids generally shouldn't stop from getting pregnant, but the fibroids may grow during the pregnancy, may give you a lot of pain, and may affect delivery depending on where it is. So your doctor, specifically your gynecologist, should be able to advise you as to, do you get the fibroid out before you get pregnant, or do you get it out when you're having the baby, or do you leave it alone? Those are legitimate options, which are going to be determined by your specific circumstance, where your fibroid is located. Is it pedunculated? Is it intramural? Is it submucosal? Is it near the cervix? I don't know. You might not know, so doctor should be able to advise on that. Bami is good. Yes, bami is cassava with the starch removed. So it's just a lot of fiber. So bami is a healthy food, guys. If you're from the Caribbean, have lots of bami. Okay. What's the cost for an office visit? Okay, can I have okay, I'm answering those questions already. Do you use spelt flour? I don't use flour. So I'm actually going on a no-grain diet, and I'm leading people in that direction because it's pretty clear from the research and the books written. Dr. Mercola wrote a book called No Grain Diet. Let me see if I have it and show you guys. Do I have that book down here? Let me check, guys, if I have that book. Not seeing it in my bookshelf downstairs here. So there's a book by Dr. Joseph Mercola called The No Grain Diet. Awesome read, easy to read. One of my mentors, he gave me and signed my personal copy myself. Yeah. So signed it himself. Yeah. So that's a book to read to learn about what grains to have and what grains not to have, which is none of them at all. Rice cakes, good too. Rice cakes are definitely better than biscuits and crackers and bread. So rice is a better option. Make bread from avocado. Interesting. Okay, that should be nice. What's wrong with gluten-free, non-GMO bread? Well, what makes it? It's highly processed food, sir. If you're gonna, this non-GMO gluten-free bread is made from what? Irish potatoes? You know, if it's made from a healthy plant food, fine. But you know, to get it to bread texture, the amount of processing and chemicals that are often added makes unhealthy. So a lot of foods that are labeled gluten-free aren't necessarily healthy. They're just gluten-free with lots of starch and sugars and lots of things in them. So, you know, I'm wary of this gluten-free label as being a signature of health. It's not. You still have to read the label. Numbness in my right feet from diabetes. Well, if it's okay, my feet at night. Okay, so you might be having diabetic retinopathy, diabetic neuropathy, which is where the nerves in your feet and sometimes hands get damaged because your blood flow is compromised by your diabetes problem. And so you are in great danger of having permanent loss of sensation in your limbs, which may lead to problems in getting injuries and not knowing. And of course, with the loss of sensation, you know, it's gonna follow close behind that is just poor circulation, because that's what's going on at the micro level. The bigger vessels get blocked, and so you're at great risk of having a limb loss. So you need to control the diabetes and get your blood flow going by exercising and taking your nutrient food. Cayenne pepper is actually excellent here. And your B vitamins, you know, of course, numbness can be caused by B12 deficiency, which is caused by metformin. So if you're taking metformin diabetic, you're gonna have B12 deficiency, B12 deficiency. So if you're taking metformin, you need to be taking B12. That's like a no-brainer. Yeah, like you're taking like cholesterol pills, you need to be taking like a coenzyme Q10. It's gonna deplete your coenzyme Q10. So there are things that you need to be doing if you're taking medication, right? Breadfruit good to eat most of the time. Well, breadfruit is an excellent carbohydrate. It's rich in fiber, has lots of nutrients. So compared to bread, breadfruit is an excellent option. So roasted, boiled, however you want to make it, you can use it to make other things. You know, breadfruit is a very versatile fruit. You can use it to make porridge, you know, and soups.
Breadfruit soup,
Let me see now. I'm going through the questions, guys. So I'm not never answer. Bread substitute. Okay, I did. Cornmeal better to eat than oatmeal. No. Cornmeal is not good. Most corn is GMO, which have BT toxins sprayed on them, or not sprayed on them, engineered into the corn to make sure that whatever insect attempt to eat the corn is gonna die. So corn is not a health food. Corn is a toxic food for most persons. Corn is gonna contain lots of carbohydrates, and extract from corn higher fructose corn syrup, which I mentioned is one of the drivers for obesity and insulin resistance. So no cornmeal porridge, no corn flakes, no cornmeal, no corn oil. No. That's not gonna be part of a healthy diet in this century. Not in this century. Not what we have done to corn. Corn is no longer health food. Can a diabetic drink coffee? Well, you can drink coffee, but what do you put in the coffee? Are you putting in Lasco or condensed milk or sugar or non-dairy creamer? Which non-dairy creamer, I'm still trying to figure out what makes that contraption of a food. Guys, this is coconut milk, almond milk, something healthy. Just stop using these chemicals.
Your body.
Quinoa, good to eat for diabetes, yeah, okay, fine. Weight loss, it's better than rice, but it's not great either. Okay,
No, man. No bread from avocado. Me say, me see for
it makes bread with butter beans. Awesome, that's nice, okay. You can get butter bean bread,
That
bread with avocado. Okay.
I like.
All right. Addressing bloating already, guys. There's so many questions. Yeah, I want to do fasting, but scared about the refeeding process. So yeah, you need to join my group next time we're doing it. Make sure you're in the first line so you can join the group. We can take you through fasting. It's so easy when you have a group encouraging you and people doing it, and you're feeling the hunger together. It's so so nice and builds connection going through this difficulty together. It makes it doable.
No, man.
Oh, yeah, I already in this one and the buy now lava.
Hi, Doc, can venous disease be treated and cured? Well, every disease can be treated and cured. It just depends on at what stage you find it. So there are persons who will come to me with severe venous disease, big varicose veins and valves damage and all this. Of course, we can't cure that. It's gone beyond the point of repair. Early stages, you get a little swelling and so on. Of course, we can exercise and just talking and, change up your diet, lose some weight, and you can not have those symptoms anymore long term. But it depends on how bad it is. I'm not going to say we can work miracles for everybody, but in the early stages, almost everything can be reversed. How does a diabetic fast when you have to take insulin? If you're fasting, you can't take insulin. So if you're going to go on a fast as a diabetic, you don't take your insulin. The insulin is only needed if you're eating. So no, you can't fast and take insulin. You skip the insulin during the fast. You don't take it and you monitor your blood sugar. But I digress. You must do this under observation, with the approval of your physician. So if I'm a physician, then I'll be able to guide you through. But if I'm not, maybe you would have to convince your physician that this is something you want to do. But no, you're not going to take insulin and fast. You're going to die. So gas and bloating is not caused by not eating. It's caused by eating. Let me repeat that. Gas and bloating is not caused by not eating. It's caused by eating. So what you eat in combination with the bacteria in your gut is what will give you gas. So if you fast, you will get rid of the gas. I guarantee. All right, guys, so we did a weight loss presentation, but now we're just answering questions coming out of that presentation. For those of you who are just joining the live, let me just recap briefly what the presentation was about. So I did say to lose weight and keep it off permanently has been a challenge for people for millennia. Yeah, literally. The last 100 years, it's been a bigger challenge. The last 50 years, humongous challenge. We have a worldwide epidemic of obesity. So we are failing. I recommended 2 strategies. 1, diet. It's going to be a 0 sugar or very low sugar, no grain, so no rice, wheat, oats, barley, no grain. Yeah? You're going to be having healthy amounts of vegetables, plant fats, like your avocado, your nuts and seeds and so on. High quality protein from nuts and legumes, and if you have meat like fish, salmon, chicken breast, if you can get healthy chicken, grass-fed beef, probiotic foods, which are going to be your fermented foods, your pickles and your sauerkraut and so on. So these foods are going to drop your insulin levels, which is the cause for obesity. So if you reduce insulin, you reduce the mechanism by which you're putting on fat and you begin to lose it. But we know that with diet, after about 6 months, most persons are going to plateau and then maybe start putting on back weight. Why? Because your brain has an organ called the hypothalamus, which insulin works on and set your fat point at a certain level. And it will not go down with just dieting alone. You need to put in the second component, which is fasting. Intermittent fasting every day, 24-hour fasting once a week, long-term fasting, which is like 2 to 3 days, once every 2 weeks. Incorporate that into your regime, and then in a sustainable way, you will see weight loss 100, 150, and you will be able to maintain it with very little effort. It's not about which diet you go on, it's about going on a diet which you can sustain long term, one that has nourishing foods that you enjoy, yeah, and that you're not feeling starved on it. They have to be sustainable. All right, guys. So I'm looking at questions again. What time is it? Guys, it's 9:59, 10 p.m. It's time for my bed. So I'm gonna say goodbye to you guys. I'm just gonna say, guys, I'm encouraging you to subscribe, follow the channel, because there are a couple of things that are gonna be launching. I'm gonna be ending now. So one, right now I have a 14-day flat belly challenge going on. There are 800 people from 23 countries in that challenge. We have 4 days in of the 14 days. And already persons have lost up to 10 pounds, persons have lost up to 2 inches off their waist, persons are recording low blood pressures, abundant energy, good bowel movements. I have what is a transformative program that I'm going to be rolling out in another 10 days, second edition. We have 1,024 spots on the WhatsApp group that I'm going to launch. You're going to get personal interaction with me every day. You're going to get interaction with persons all over the world to encourage you. You're going to get diet plans. You're going to exercise routines. You're going to get supplement recommendations. You're going to get detox, my special homemade detox, which you don't need to spend a cent to have. So I'm going to advertise that fat loss challenge for persons to join. And then we're going to repeat it. So there'll always be one going on. The fee to join is going to be minimal, less than $20. It will get you into the group with 2 weeks of just resources and interaction with me personally to coach you. Following that, because 2 weeks will not be enough, you can plug into the rest of my resources. We'll have a podcast launching, a health podcast on Patreon and on YouTube and on TikTok here, where you can actually follow along with my personal health advice from my 20 years of research into health and wellness from a dietary perspective. And I'm a very big fan of exercise too. So I'm going to be incorporating that into the advice I give you. So you'll be able to follow along with that podcast. You definitely will be able to plug in there, and I'll be doing newsletters and publications just to kind of keep you guys plugged in to having a part in the journey that I'm on to stay healthy for longer. So yes, guys, no honey, no guys. Honey is sugar. Honey is a healthy option for persons who are relatively healthy, but if you have diabetes, if you have cancer, if you're trying to lose weight, honey is not going to be a very smart thing to be consuming. It's going to raise your insulin levels. Yeah, and you want to drop your insulin levels down by low carb, low sugar, and fasting. That's what we're promoting. So guys, launching on Patreon in a couple of weeks will be my podcast, weekly podcast, and launching a 14-day fat loss challenge on WhatsApp, which the link will be on TikTok here for you to join. And so look out for that. So follow, and then you'll be able to see that pop up when we start taking in new sets of participants for the next challenge. I'm hoping to fill the group in a matter of a couple of days and get started, right? So by next week, I'll be taking in persons for that second challenge. So look out for that. Yeah, and next month we'll have another live session here. So I'm doing one live per month now. That's what my schedule allows. So I'll be doing another presentation that will be aired on Zoom for persons who are in my groups, my WhatsApp groups, to be on YouTube for everybody, and of course on TikTok here for the rest of you all who love TikTok, which I've come to love apparently. So thank you all for being on TikTok with me tonight. Hope you learned something, and take care. Bedtime.
Mr. Orlando.